Welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl. I'm Dr. Cheryl, and tonight's show is about the wealth of creating unconditional love and using your creative flow to help humanity. And our guests tonight are John Wallace and Lamar Walker. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to let you kind of tell your story. I know I've read your bio, and who wants to start first? John, he's okay. John, you are from Marin City. Well, these are local men too. These are local men. So yay Marin County for producing what they're doing. Yes. So kind of give us a background of, where you came from, Marin City, right?
So a little synopsis. Born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh.
My family moved here in 1986. And, my heart's pounding.
Are you a New Orleans boy?
Yes.
You are New Orleans. Okay.
But we moved to Marin City. I was 8 years old. And that's where life just took on a new meaning for me. I think it was pretty much, I had the correct role models around me, but didn't have the sense of direction. Being that I was one of 12 kids, it was hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to get the attention you needed.
Where were you in the lineup?
I think I'm like the 7th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So, what else would you like to know?
well, okay. So from Marin City, I know you got involved with some drugs, which everybody does on some level.
Yeah.
Almost everybody. But so I guess what I want to know is how you got to where you are now, and what was your pivot? What was, what made you get this wonderful creative idea that you're doing, your music?
Well, I'm far from perfect, and
Everybody's far from perfect.
I tend to blame things on certain people or individuals in my life that, I felt could have done something to help me. And I blamed them for things that got out of control in my life. I blamed the judges for sending me to prison for years. I blamed the police officers for beating my mother. I blamed everything. It was just a hard upbringing.
And how old were you about that time?
Man, that was about 16 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was
In your
hard.
20s?
A lot of things that have happened were pretty hard to overcome without the proper guidance and without the proper role models and stuff in my life to say, hey, this is the direction we think you should go in. And it got kind of hard. I ventured off. And as any adolescent kid would do, I turned to the streets, I turned to gang life, I turned to drugs, I turned to, anything that made me feel where I can numb something.
Yeah, yeah.
And, in reality, I was hurting. It hurts to talk about it right now.
Okay, well, you don't have to talk
but-
about it.
but
We want to keep your energy up.
It's the humanizing it, though. It's to remember
of course.
and where you've
well,
been.
you know what? This is
Yeah.
to set an example
Yeah.
for the kids and adults that are watching this.
Right. Yeah, it's to humanize it. So you fall, and how do you get back up is what matters most.
Absolutely.
I've fallen many times, but when I got back up, every time I got stronger.
When did you actually go to prison?
I think it was in 2000. Actually, it was like 1999 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
So it's a long time
Yeah,
ago.
it was back in the 90s.
How long were you in there?
I got out in 2003.
Oh, okay.
And I discharged my
So
number.
you were there like
yeah.
three
Yeah, discharged
years.
my number in 2003.
That must have been really tough.
Yeah.
Being in there. You see movies about, people in prison and what they go through, and I'm sure you have stories too. And
Yeah.
ooh, you have to put a shell up around you, and it's like it has to chisel to get out. When so anyway, you're out, and
Well, I can talk about the prison experience and humanize it because in prison was some of my darkest moments that I brought light to my life. Being in a cell alone with another man and hearing about his life and his issues and stuff, and then me trying to block all that stuff out, block out what's going on around me, and music was my outlet. And so I just started writing songs. Started reading a lot of books in there, writing songs. I lied to a lot of people when I was home about graduating high school. I had a child at 17, and in prison I found myself, and I found out that I can actually complete my GED in there. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And, you know, music was my outlet in that cell, like I say again, and I can't stress enough about the importance of what it did to me.
Well, you've got some beautiful songs, and maybe we can put another one on,
Yeah.
or part of another one on,
Yeah.
which we will. No, I've listened to your songs, and I think they're beautiful.
Thank you.
You know the messages that come out of it, and it's not the negative stuff; it's
Yeah.
the positive and love. You know, and that's we need that more than ever right now.
We do. Need a lot more positivity in the world.
Oh.
You know.
And it first starts with yourself, you know.
Agree.
And I know at times it gets hard, you know. I mean, I have my moments too where it's like,
Yeah.
especially when people are acting out, and it's
Yeah.
like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, so when you started writing your music in prison,
Yeah.
and had you ever had any guidance or instruction on how to write music? So it was
No.
just coming, it was just
Yeah,
flowing
it's just coming from the
naturally.
heart. Coming from the heart, I was pounding on my chest and beating on my bunk in there, and some of the guys in there would yell, "Hey, turn that up a little bit, man. That sounds good."
Oh,
And so I
so that
started-
was your reinforcement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I never thought I had a voice. I mean, I sung in a choir years ago when I was in church, when I was a teenager and stuff. I hid in the churches.
In Marin City?
Yeah,
Oh,
under Pastor
which
Small.
which
Church of God.
Where's that? Right there in Marin
Yeah, it's
City?
in Marin City, next to
Is
the
it the
rec center.
corner? Is that on the corner one?
Not that one, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
the pink and brown church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So see, it's there.
yeah,
It's not going away.
yeah,
You're just getting started.
yeah.
Oh wow. So you had reinforcement in
Yeah, and,
the prison to go for it.
Yeah, I would sing these songs and write these lyrics, and some of the guys in there will relate to them, and some of them will be yelling up to my cell and it's like, "Hey, bring that one back, like sing that one again." And it was pretty cool just to have that reinforcement from them.
Well, yeah, you
you know,
needed, yeah.
It made me
That's
feel
great.
good inside. It made me
Because they
feel
could have
like-
said, "Oh, shut
Yeah.
up." you
Well,
know?
yeah, and prison's a dark place,
Yeah.
you know.
And you look what you gave them.
Yeah, and I kept telling myself when I was there and I was writing all these songs, and I was just like, you know, something good could become of this. But I kept hearing those voices from the past saying, "You're not good enough, or you're not gonna make it," and so I didn't follow that career path when I got out.
Yay! Yay!
You know,
Yay!
So-
Yay!
I didn't want to have anything to do with it
No.
for some reason.
Yeah. So when you got out, what I mean, I'm sure that it wasn't all fun and games in prison.
No.
I mean, you just hear stories. I think of Shawshank Redemption. I love that movie, by the way. I love
Well-
the ending.
Well, when you walk in the San Quentin State Prison, when I got off that bus and I was in the little paper suit, you know, shackled from my waist to my feet, I got off the bus and they took us into a reception unit, and then they took us in finally after like almost a whole day of waiting to find out where you're going to be housed. There was a sign that said "No warning shots fired in this unit," and it's in red and with a white background. So that
Does
right
that
there.
mean they just shoot?
No, it was just like, for me, that was like I took snapshots of certain stuff and mental snapshots. Like I didn't want to feel that again.
Oh,
I didn't want
okay.
to see that
Okay.
again, you know, and it just
Yeah.
stuck in my mind, and I was just like, whoa, this is serious, you
But
know?
depending on the severity of what happens on the yard, they may not give a warning shot.
Yes.
That's the way I took it. It's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
of course, I know that's high security,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Exactly.
Scott Peterson's in there.
I got a chance to, see some people that were just crazy. And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, for me, I just didn't want to go back. I was telling myself, is this as good as it's going to get? Is this as good as your life is going to be? Like, is this what is this what you're settling for? You know?
So, how did you get out? I mean, what was, you know?
I got out on a work release program. I got out early,
Oh, okay.
and for good behavior. and went to a work
You
furlough.
wanted out of there.
Went to a work furlough in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I got a chance to get back in the community and become a positive asset
And
and
see, people do
productive
give
member.
you chances
Yeah,
more
And-
than once.
Yes.
yeah. And you know, that didn't. I got a taste of freedom, but it wasn't enough. I ended up getting kicked out of my work furlough and going back to state prison.
Oh.
And then the judge gave me a chance to do a treatment program as a result.
Oh, drug treatment?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I ended up failing that
Oh,
because I wasn't ready.
yeah.
And you know when you're ready. You know, I was doing it for other people and not for myself. Because other people said,
That's
"Hey, you have a
lesson
problem."
that
Yeah.
we all have to
Yeah.
learn.
Well, it's crazy when people say you have a problem, and yeah, you know you have a problem. I knew I had a problem, but it was just I was.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know?
the big
I-
question.
Not you have a problem.
Well-
It's like, how can I support you in getting out of this?
Well, my ego was blocking me,
Yeah,
and
of course.
you know, as a man growing up in today's society, especially being African American and dealing with a lot of issues behind that, you know, I didn't have a cool upbringing because of the issues I was faced with, you know, especially when I was in 3rd grade and one of my best friends was white and his mom ran to him and grabbed him and said, "We don't hang out with those people." Like, you know, that was another snapshot. And so I learned what racism was in its purest form from that moment.
You know, I'm just going to share this one thing. I lived in a lily white community growing up. But my father, and there were 2 black families, and my father always said, "You give everybody a chance." Yeah. And I became friends with one of the black guys. So what? Well, there's no color, you know? I mean, but I grew up and they would actually, you know, bring blacks over from Seattle to Bellevue. And I was always open because my father always said, "You give everybody a chance." Anyway,
Yeah.
so you know, it's awful. That prejudice is awful.
Yeah.
No matter what. I mean, I've seen the Jews, you know, the prejudice towards the Jews, and you know,
Yeah.
I mean, anyway.
So, anyways, to fast track on this part right here, you know, after I got out of prison, like, my life started happening. You know, I was married. I had 5 children. And
Boy, you were busy.
Yeah. And then again, I found a way to sabotage when things were going right. So I felt, right? And you know, I couldn't get a handle on it. It went back to me reverting back to this same life I had that got me in prison, hanging out with the wrong crowds, doing wild things. I mean, creating victims in society. Society wasn't safe when I was there under the influence of any type of drug. Yeah. And it was sad. I see it today, you know, and I see that the crime rate is down when I'm sober. You know, I would, it's emotional to talk about right now because,
okay.
You know,
okay.
Not everyone gets an opportunity to get sober.
Why do you think
know,
that?
You have to want it.
Oh, definitely. From
you know?
your heart.
Yeah. And you have to be tired.
You have to be tired.
You have to be tired of living the way you've been living.
Yeah.
And I just got tired.
You want out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, going forward. So you've been writing music since then, right?
Yeah.
And so share with us, you know, what's happening there.
So the music part, I mean, the music part, I wrote songs for my kids. I wrote songs for, you know, women in my life. I write songs about how I'm feeling, about injustice. And
What a great catharsis for
yeah,
you, though.
and I would rather write a song than lash out. You know, and I wish that I would have known this earlier before all this stuff started happening in my life. I wish that music could have been an outlet then. or that I,
You
know,
got there, and that's the
Yeah,
most important
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know the avenues that it would unlock, and it's unlocked a lot so far. Been
Yeah. So share about, I mean, he blessed me with this CD that his kids, and it's stopproject.org is what you've created.
Yes.
And the kids have created songs, and your two songs are on
Yeah,
here, or you're
yeah,
part of two songs. I mean, this is going to be the legacy that you leave.
Yeah.
And so share about this, because this is where you shine.
So Surviving the Odds project is, you know, a video production music therapy project for at-risk youth here in Marin. And it's mainly aimed towards the continuation schools here in Marin County, Madrone, San Andreas, Marin Oaks, and county community. And what I wanted these kids to do was get a chance to express themselves creatively, learn how to record in a professional studio a song, learn how to work with an engineer to make the song exactly how they wanted it, and also to shoot a music video to that song. And at the end of this, have a graduation ceremony where they showcase their talent. Because whenever we're
And when will that be?
that'll be May 31st,
Okay.
Next Thursday, and it'll be at
is it here?
yes, it'll be at Marin County Office of Education at
Yeah. in
1111 Las Colinas Avenue.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And man, just can't say enough about what this has happened. I mean, it's all happened so quickly. I also released my first album December 28th of last year, named All My Life, and my artist name on it is Freedom. And I got my name Freedom from all of the stuff that I've overcome.
Yeah.
And surviving the odds was a way that, you know, I've survived these odds. I've survived a lot of things that I shouldn't be here right now.
Bless your soul.
Yeah. And so in creating this project, I wanted the kids to, you know, come and express themselves if they're dealing with whatever trauma, street life, drugs, whatever it is. Come and have fun and hang out with us and learn about music.
And talk about it too.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
it's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see. So where do you see this going?
It's taken off really
Nationally?
fast. Yeah, it's taken off really fast already.
I mean, this can go
yeah.
into many neighborhoods outside of California.
I mean, already some of the kids on our project have already performed at the Santa Rosa Junior College for a recovery night thing that they had there, and just to see them on stage and be in the backdrop, and then also myself performing. And before I even went up there, I was out of breath because I was engaged in their lyrics, and I was jumping around like a little kid, you know, just watching them on stage unfold in a way that I wish I would have had that when I was younger, but I'm experiencing it now.
And it's never too late.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Never too late. So, wow.
So it's broken down into 5 phases. The first phase is like the introduction phase, where we teach them how mainly to pretty much get to know one another. We did an icebreaker, and they learned about themselves, asked them questions about what was a moment in your life where you wanted to tell someone something but you couldn't, I think it was, or something about yourself that you don't want someone to know. And it broke the ice between them. So that phase right there was pretty cool. The next phase is the writing phase, where we get them to work on writing lyrics and stuff. The next phase would be like going to record in the professional studio, where they learn how to record and work with engineers there,
And that's,
polishing up
is
their
that
songs.
here in,
Yes, at the Legion Beat Studio in Terra Linda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the next phase is shooting a music video. And then the next phase after that, the final phase is performing. And I mean, we give these kids, and we got a grant to start this whole project out.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
Where did the grant come
Marin
from?
Health and Human Services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Amen to that.
yeah.
So you got to keep going.
So
Just got to let all the other stuff
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
fly with this,
Yeah.
you know, but stay grounded.
Yeah.
fly and stay grounded.
Right.
All right. Lamar,
Yes.
I know you're part of this organization, but you have your own. But you went to Terra Linda High School.
I did. Yeah.
Did you live in San Rafael then?
Yeah. I stayed in San Rafael. I was raised in San Rafael.
Are you from here? Were you born here?
Yes. Marine
Oh,
General
wow.
Hospital.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're really a native here.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
So I grew up in San Rafael, but I spent a lot of my time in Marin City.
Yeah.
I have a lot of family there.
Oh,
And
okay.
my journey was a little different in terms of I was more addicted to the street life, and I found a lot of trouble, trials and tribulations, and it landed me in prison. I went through the juvenile system, county jail, San Quentin, and I would say when I was going through the juvenile stage, I was just misguided. You know, I was very, very closed off, and I wasn't really interested in too many, shall I say, people telling me what to do. You know,
Yeah.
and so a hard head, led to a soft behind, and eventually
Hard head and a what?
led to a soft
Left.
behind.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I found out the hard way. You know,
Oh, okay.
and one experience that I remember is when I was stayed in Pilgrim Park. I was aged probably 15 years old.
What park?
Pilgrim Park, that's an apartment in San Rafael.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was around 14 actually, and I remember my friend's father, which was his stepfather. He would be around all the time, and he just disappeared. And I would ask him, well, where did your father go? And he would tell me different things, and I would come to realize, well, you just told me this, now you told me that, and then years later, I ended up in San Quentin, and he recognized me, and I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, where have you been? He was like, I've been here for, basically he was sentenced 25 to life
Oh,
for,
wow.
he had robbed a jewelry store in San Francisco and murdered someone.
Oh, dear.
And, to me, it was very shocking that not only did he commit that type of crime, but the fact that I saw him many years later. And he had he was very positive though in his situation regardless to the crime. He started a men's group in prison, and it would be somewhere where the guys can come and talk about their crimes and the remorse and, how they were dealing with their past.
Yeah.
And I was a part of that group.
Oh,
And
good. Yeah.
from that, I started to look at my history and all the people that I hurt, things that I did, how it hurt my family. I had a son at 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was a child myself,
Well, yeah.
so I didn't even really think about trying to be a father, you know what I
You
mean?
couldn't.
None, to say the less, my father wasn't around.
Yeah.
And but through this men's group, from you take a self-preservation of the things you did, and he would always talk to me, and I just found that when you take a self-preservation, you'd be surprised at the things that you look back on, have remorse for. And upon my release, I just remember saying to myself that I wanted to be able to be in a position to give back. And when John, we've known each other for several years, and when he,
How long were you in prison?
I was in 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, so it wasn't really in comparison to someone that's doing life,
Yeah,
but
right.
it was just my
Still.
personal experience
Yeah.
and how it touched me. The most humiliating part of being in prison, like he said, when you go into reception, you get off this bus and you go in here and you have to, as a grown man, you spread your cheeks and
Oh,
you
yeah.
cough, and it's like things you see on the movies, and for me it was like wow, I can't believe this is where I'm at.
Plus.
Yeah.
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 So I just, like I said, I wanted to give back, and through this program here, we're able, I feel, to catch the youth at a point in their life where if someone shows interest and gives them attention, has an ear to listen, and kind of share with them some things that you may have experienced to let them know that they're not by themselves. And
Absolutely.
through this program, we've been able to reach the kids.
It's like having a big brother,
Yeah.
big
Exactly.
sister. I used to do that
Exactly.
before I had a daughter.
And some of the kids who come into the program, they started out very closed,
Yeah,
and you
sure.
know they wouldn't let us in.
Trust is so hard.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know?
Because as a youngster, you find yourself doing things. As a kid, you go through experience, and you may mess up here and there. Depending on your home environment and the parents and how they treat you based on whatever you did, they tend to not want to listen. You know what I mean? And as a child, you have a voice, and you want to be heard, and you're going to be heard one way or the other, depending on how you act out.
Well, and acting out is one way to get their attention.
That's what I'm saying.
I have my own story with that.
Right, we all do, and I just felt like, well, going back to what I was saying before about the kids coming into the program,
Yeah.
we found them opening up by not prying into their business, just
Let
having
it happen
discussion
naturally.
Yeah.
amongst each other.
Building that trust,
Right.
so then they can open up.
Exactly. And when they started to open up, not only in the music, but just in conversation, me and John, we would have these conversations like, wow, bro, this is incredible. Because we really didn't expect that. We came into it as a program where, you get them to express themselves through music, but the things that they have like a side conversation with you about are the things that's really like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The reality of their life experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you can only put so much in music, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can
right.
put whatever in music, but you only feel comfortable putting so much out there.
Well, and
But-
your intention with the music too.
Right, right. But when you find the comfortability to confide in someone, maybe some deep places where you might have been or some experiences, you build this trust factor. And everything here we keep confidential amongst us.
Of course.
So they feel good about that, and just so moving fast, speed ahead. Things are just going so great, so fast that sometimes we have these conversations like, bro, can you believe this?
It's almost
You know
like
what I
every
mean? Like,
And just stay in the moment so you don't
Yeah.
get too overwhelmed.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Because you've put it into motion. So tell us about the tree.
Oh, TREE is a program where we designed that it's a transitional music program that goes from stop into TREE. And what we do,
Okay. See, I didn't get that connection. Now I get it.
yes, it's a
Okay.
transition program.
Okay.
And so when they come into TREE, it's predominantly designed for 18 to 25-year-olds. And the reason why we came up with this program is because at 18 years old, you're able to kind of make decisions for yourself,
Hopefully.
And you have, hopefully, exactly. So with the music,
May not be the right one all the time.
Right.
so with the music, we teach them to hone their craft, for the ability to monetize it.
Yeah.
And from monetizing that, they'll be able to generate revenue.
Right.
And I've had an encounter with my late great friend, Tupac Shakur.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yes.
You're doing just fine. You said ask questions. Boy, you're just on a roll.
Yeah.
So you were involved in what capacity
Well,
with Tupac?
It started out with, we met in Marin City, and he was with the group 5150.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
another rap group
Right.
from Marin City. And he would do music with them all the time, and we became friends. He wanted to start another group, and it was going to be on his independent record label called the Underground Railroad.
Mm-hmm.
He made a song called All in the Days of a Criminal, and it was designed for 3 people, one being me, my cousin, and a friend of mine. and he wrote 3 different personalities in this song. And when I heard my part, I was like blown away, like, wow.
And in what way?
In the fact that he took parts of my life as he knew it, and he wrote it down, had me recite it, and when I recite, I really owned it. I felt like I had written the song, you know?
Okay.
He was like that spot on with it. So he
Wow.
was like destined to be a star that he actually became, you know?
I'm so
And
sorry about his ending, though.
I know it was terrible, but hey, that's why we make this program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that we can hopefully reach these kids. And that won't be the end result, although he is a mega icon, you know. But, so, excuse me for getting off track.
No, it's okay. No, I mean, anything you want to share about that, that's an honor.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
He
And obviously, he liked you and he respected you.
Oh, yeah. And he respected me so much that he gave me credits on the album. We did a song called Trapped, and the song appeared on his first album, Tupac Now.
Okay.
And I earned a platinum plaque for that. And I did executive producing and kind of did my mixing, mastering, you know, and I was very shocked when I got that because I didn't receive it until he passed away.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so when, you know, they contacted me, I was like, really? Like I couldn't, you know, because when you do music, you do it for the fun of it.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And at that point, it wasn't really necessarily a business. He never really looked at it as a business. It was just something that he enjoyed.
Yeah.
And he shared that with all of us.
It's creative energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was a really good pivot for you.
It was. And from that, I learned how to express myself musically. And I got into the entertainment business. I started promoting shows. I did a lot of touring with him.
You did? Yeah.
Yes. And I seen like from that perspective as to how the music business is. And it could
It's
be
not
a dark
easy,
place.
is it?
Yes.
Just like the show business.
Right.
It's not easy.
Right. It's not all
You
cracked
gotta,
up.
you gotta be tough.
You do. But the way the society has changed now with the music, and the social media, they
Yes.
made it a way where you can actually make money and you know gain a career basically
Right.
from right at home.
I'm still trying to learn how to do that
Oh, you're doing a
for
good
my
job.
show.
Doing a good
You're
job.
doing a good job.
I've got 163. This is 164. 165.
Wow, it's an honor.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So you're coming up on 200 episodes, huh?
Yeah. I love it.
Kudos.
Well, you too.
Yes.
You too. What you're doing for the kids and humanity. I mean, this isn't just for kids. This is for adults.
Yeah.
It is.
You know, to see this, because a lot of adults just stay stuck in that, you know, poor me, or, you know, in that dysfunctional place. And it's like, let it go, you know, like you're doing,
Yeah.
like you're doing.
Yeah.
So you like to sing?
I've made a CD before,
Yeah.
and
I keep trying to tell him to keep going.
yeah, he's having me.
You
He's
mean
trying to bring it out. of me.
You're holding it back. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
You're
yes.
holding it back. So
Yes,
you don't
yes.
feel confident in your own voice. And I can relate to that because I've studied music. So what will it take for him to...
He's
really-
trying to bring
I
it out.
guess
of
I
me.
just gotta keep forcing it, like try to keep telling him, dude, no, this is, you got this product already. It's like,
And you sung with Tupac?
Yes.
Well, then, you know, I mean,
Yes.
then you can do it.
Yeah. I'm more the behind the scenes type of person.
Oh, okay.
You know
That's,
what I
if
mean?
that's your personality.
Yeah, I'm
you
more
know.
kind of just laid back, a little
Yeah,
low key.
well.
You know what I mean?
Once in a while you can sneak him in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. So, if there's any like words of wisdom that you can both share, please unleash it. For I'm looking at the kids and the adults. I mean, because adults are just big kids.
Yeah.
But some of them push it down.
Yeah.
What I would share is that young America pay attention to the role models. It's hard for someone to give advice that hasn't been where you've been.
Yeah.
So when I say role models, I'm not necessarily talking about someone famous, just someone that's doing something that you can identify with. And if they're giving you information that can help you, please listen, because that could actually save your life. And I'm saying that from a perspective, flashing back to prison, from that particular experience. This is someone, not to mention, he's free now today. And he, at that time.
Oh, that gentleman you were talking about
Yes,
earlier, that was
yes.
kind of a role model for you?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
After his serving his time for his crime, during that whole process, he stayed very positive. He enrolled in a lot of different programs. He changed his life. Even though he committed a terrible crime, you can change. He's out now, he's doing very positive things. He's also helping the youth. And like I'm saying, from that experience with him, it put me in a state of mind to give back as well. And if we have more people like that, I think the world would be a better place.
Oh, absolutely. Wow. And then they don't have to go through such, but you know what, if you two hadn't gone through what you've gone through, you wouldn't be where you are today.
I agree with that.
I mean, I know you don't know anything about my story, but if I hadn't gone through what I've gone through, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
So, you can't really take that away from kids or adults, but you can be there to set an example and be a role model.
Yeah.
I agree.
Wow. Well,
I guess mine would be, my words of wisdom. I mean, there's so much I wish I can do more, in my own community where I grew up.
you mean like at Marin City?
Yeah, Marin City.
Yeah.
Just to be more of a positive role model.
And how can you do that there?
Just leading by example, doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Trying to get them involved. And,
yeah. So do you reach out to them and have them participate then?
Yeah, there's a couple kids in our project from Marin City.
Okay.
And, it's they label Marin City a ghetto, so-called. And I think if people looked up the word ghetto and what it really means, it means to isolate and to keep away from.
Yeah.
And,
And that's what they do.
we're in these
armor
neighborhoods.
themselves.
Yeah, we're in these neighborhoods where we feel like no one understands us. And so the easiest thing for us to do, I'm speaking for myself in terms when I was out there, the easiest thing for me to do was to, not want to feel. Shut down, stay closed in, and walk around like blaming other people and not taking responsibility. And today, I take full responsibility for every single action that I've done, and just looking at it and saying, okay, I acknowledge it's there, and this is what I'm doing about it today. But the wisdom that I want to give them and hope that they can grasp right now in this opportunity is to love yourself enough to want better.
And that's what I talk about on my shows too, is unconditional love. Like stop criticizing and stop judging yourself.
Yeah.
And accept the way you are and the way you're not.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I know for me, it's like the way you're not.
So
it's like, hey, wait a minute.
Exactly, right?
Wait a minute. This is not true love. When you focus on the things that you're not.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself a lot.
Yeah.
So my lyrics that I write in my music are about my life, and I humanize it. I love it. I wish I could say more to these youth, but the thing is just come and get involved.
Yeah.
it could
yeah.
save your life.
Because it's an evolving experience anyway.
Yeah.
You know, for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, for you too, because
It is.
you know.
Like we're learning things. Well, I'm learning things about myself just dealing with the kids. It's like
There's
you
still a
become-
kid inside of you.
Exactly.
My father always said to me, "You got to keep that kid alive inside of yourself
Right.
because that's how you have fun."
That's right. That's right.
You know, so you know it may be way down there, but you can let
Yeah.
it out. You know,
I agree.
as long as it's responsible. I mean, you know, the subject.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, you got to have fun. That's where love comes out too.
Yeah.
You know, when you can be free. And I like
Yeah.
that freedom.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all want to be free.
Yeah.
You know. So where do you see yourselves going? I mean, I think where you are today, oh my gosh, you've got, whew,
This is just.
and you
in
just can't get overwhelmed with how you know, it's like you got to take one day at a time,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
one project and then just let it.
Well, this is in a couple months work.
Wow, I know.
This is just a
Wow.
couple, 8 to 12 weeks. And we put this
Wow.
together, and
Yeah.
I mean,
That's phenomenal. Some people
it
take
takes
years.
it takes a team,
Yeah, yeah, it does.
you know,
It does.
and I want to acknowledge
There's no
them,
I
you know.
in team.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
There is, depending on how you make the A.
Okay.
If you box the A, there's an I in there.
Okay. Mm-mm. All right. I haven't heard that one before. But okay. I mean, there's an I in all of us, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
I think in terms of the future of this program and many programs to come, that it's going to be a natural progression because it's about giving,
Yeah.
you know, and if you give, I've come to believe that good things will come to you.
And it's just,
No.
it's, you know what, it's exercising your patience too.
Right.
I mean, I'm speaking for myself. My eye, you know, is like, I love doing these shows because it brings out the best of everybody,
I agree.
you know, and it's giving and, you know, it's out of love and it's wonderful, you know.
Even having opportunities like this, you know, and getting the word out and you being able to shed light on the
Yeah.
things that we're doing, it's a blessing,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
It's a blessing that you're
Truly.
here. I mean, you know, you could still be locked up.
Yeah.
You could be out on the streets.
That's
and
right.
you're not. You're fulfilling your dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what, you know, just keep doing it. You know, and,
Right.
and I'm sure you'll have days that are challenging because that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, the
The
roller
roller coaster of life,
Yeah.
you know? And it gets easier. It does, right? It gets
Yeah.
easier.
It does get easier. It does.
Yeah.
Can I just 1 second? Bro, I just want to thank you, man, for bringing me on board. Seriously.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Giving me an opportunity, you know what I
Thank you,
mean,
bro.
to give
For real.
this program like the best that I have to give.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes me feel good, you know what I'm saying? And I just
Yeah.
appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate
what
you.
you're giving him too.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what you have, you know, what you've shared tonight, you know, with the experience and the expansion that you've had even with Tupac.
Hmm.
You know, you got such a valuable nugget out of that.
He was
Right.
my role model.
So
like,
see, but that's,
seriously.
that's
Yeah.
you know,
I used to
see,
walk to
it's
school every
reciprocal,
morning. Yeah, I used to walk to
obviously.
school every morning to see him. And when I come home from school, I see him. You know what I mean? And it was just that lifestyle we were involved in, living in the same city and stuff. I mean, we latch on to things. We see things that we want to be like.
Yeah.
And he was one of my role models. And to have him along on this project with me means the world to me. You know, and just see a vision unfold and to see us both on the same level, seeing the vision and accepting it with great humility. I mean, that's,
And watching it unfold.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's unfolding.
yeah, because it's really not about us. You understand what I mean?
Okay,
It's really not
totally.
about us. It's about the mission involved here.
Absolutely. That's the bigger purpose.
Yes.
I get more out of giving right now than, you know, it just makes me feel good at night when I lay down and just know that I changed a kid's life. And knowing that one day that kid can probably say, hey, man.
You know, from a psychological standpoint, it's probably wonderful because you can also grieve what you didn't get.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sometimes I grieve what I didn't get either, you know? I mean, but it's like you gotta keep going.
Dude. And it's not an easy road. It's not an easy road because sometimes dealing with the kids, first of all, you got to have patience and understanding.
Lots of patience.
Because there's a lot of
patience with a capital P.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, some kids, you know, they have a lot of issues. You know what I mean? Some kids may have not been disciplined in certain ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have
you have to discipline them?
Right. The correct way, though.
Yeah, of course, in a loving way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I think that's where the trust is built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because they feel that love.
Yes.
And when they know when they're loved, then they can handle it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Handle it better. Oh boy. Yes, I can remember the first time my dad spanked me. Took his belt off. Whack!
You don't want to go there, but, you know.
And it's because I lied.
Right.
Only because I lied, because I was taking the brush, or my dad had this industrial broom, and his garage was his, like, he had all his tools and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I asked him if I could use the broom. But I was taking it next door so the neighbors could use it. But I was afraid to ask him for the neighbors because he didn't like people using his tools.
Right.
So I take it, I'm only 5. I take it over there. I come back and my dad said, "Did you use that broom?" I said, "Yes." Oh, he knew I was lying. I'll never forget that. Lying does not work on my face.
Right.
Anyway. So I'm sure you have some funny stories.
Oh man, definitely.
Just share one story of an example when you were a kid that's lighthearted, if you can.
Ooh, I got a lot, but some of my stories were pretty tragic.
Well, think of something. Think of something that you can reflect that is positive.
All right, I
funny.
remember a time where you know, I don't talk much about my brothers and my sisters, but right now I'm using this moment because I love them, and this show is about love. And like I remember one day, we all went to the Manzanita Center in Marin City to play basketball with our father. And man, he's passed away now, but just that feeling it gave me. I mean, I'm emotional about it right now.
Together.
Yeah, and
Family.
the ability to feel today. But just being with them that day, I remember it as if it were yesterday because we played with my dad playing basketball, and it was just a feeling that I'd never ever been able to comprehend.
The family team.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool because I have a big family, and we were all just there in the moment with our dad and having a blast with him on the basketball court, and just watching him try to do some. Yeah, I got 4 sisters.
Oh, okay. Were there any of them there?
There was, I think 2 of my sisters might have been there, but if I remember correctly, I think it was just the boys. But it was an experience that was just like out of this world.
You'll never
being
forget
with our dads. Yeah.
Absolutely. Keep it in your heart.
Yes.
How about you?
I just remember at Christmas time, it was me and my younger brother. I have 2 brothers and a sister. I'm the eldest. And at the time, it was just me and him. And for Christmas, we got our bikes. And I remember my mother played a joke on me and only showed my younger brother's bike first. And I was like, and I was pissed off. And I went into like a little
Tantrum.
Yeah. And I went into the bathroom, and when I opened the door, the bike was right there. And I was like, oh my God, I was so happy. And I'll never forget that day. Like, I was so mad, like terribly mad at him and her, mainly him.
Where, because he got it first?
Exactly. And he was my younger brother, and I
Oh,
felt I
you
should
thought
get a bike.
he's a favorite.
Right. And lo and behold, I walk into the bathroom.
And there it was.
is.
See,
You know?
she showed you.
She did. That was a very memorable moment for me.
Oh, that's
Because at
great.
that time, bikes were everything. It was
Hey,
like,
yeah, freedom.
you know. But you know, the terrible thing is you don't even really see kids riding bikes no more.
Oh, I
how
know.
they used
Did
to.
you ride down like outside on the path that goes to Mill Valley and into Sausalito when you rode your bike, or did you just ride around?
Yeah, I was just in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go that far at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, my goodness, we have 7 minutes left. Is there anything else that you want to share?
Oh man. Man, you got me thinking about these times, these fun times. Like,
Oh, good.
I mean-
Well, share, because we need the, you
it
know.
baffled me that we were like living in a time where, you know, we didn't have a chimney for Santa Claus to come down. And so we used to always wait for Santa Claus to come down the chimney, and we didn't have one. So we were like, how's he gonna get in here?
Did
And
you
so
paint
my
one
parents
on
used
the
to always,
wall?
no, my parents used to always put the cookies and milk next to the window, next to
Oh.
the door. They used to leave the window unlocked, you know, a little bit. And,
Oh, okay.
Like I captured all that as a kid. I'm like, there's no Santa Claus. I'm like, but then I thought about it, and I was like,
How old were you when you found out that there wasn't really a Santa? Usually it's around 8.
I believed it still.
Oh,
It took
okay.
me some years.
Okay, well that's
But I
good,
was just
you know.
like, how is he coming down the chimney? Like, how's he getting in our house? Like, what's going on?
Window.
But then it was just a beautiful.
Then he'd get stuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's the trip when you grow up in per se ghettos. You know, you don't get to experience the things that normal kids do, and then you feel like you're indifferent when you go to school and you see
Yeah.
them with certain things you don't
Yeah.
have, and you're wondering like, well, Christmas was good to them, but why not me?
Yeah. You
There's
know,
a good
I
Santa
never
Claus over
thought-
there.
I never thought of Marin City as a ghetto.
Yeah.
When I think of a ghetto, I think of the ghettos that are in Richmond or back east. You know,
Well, I think
mean,
it's
really
classified.
hardcore.
Yeah.
I think it's classified ghetto because that's predominantly where the black people of Marin live at.
Okay. I just
And it's-
I've never heard Marin City being referred to as a ghetto. And I mean, I've been here for 28 plus years, you know,
Yeah.
28 years.
Yeah.
So,
Well, maybe that's because coming from that environment,
Yeah.
we tend to feel that people outside of Marin City look at Marin City that way.
okay.
You know?
Yeah, well, I know that there's a dark cloud around that, you
Right.
know,
Right.
but
But it's
I mean,
actually
I've
a beautiful
interacted
place.
with
Yeah.
Marin City.
Yeah, it's
so
actually a beautiful place.
I live there too.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
talent there, I'll tell you that.
I know. I
And we're trying to
know.
access it. We're trying to utilize it.
Yeah,
and I
and
wish that.
it's dormant.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
dormant.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's wonderful that they have Tupac as a role model
Yeah.
for those kids that are growing up today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and say, oh, we can do this or do it
Right.
on some other level.
Right. And there's a lot of local artists too that hasn't had enough attention put on them. That's done a lot of positive things too,
Yeah.
you know, as far as musically,
Yeah.
just environmentally, a lot of different ways, you know. And I think by what we're doing, hopefully we will shed some light on some of those people.
Absolutely.
You know,
I mean,
old and young.
it's an ocean,
Yeah.
what's happening, you know, wide open.
Yeah.
And I just think it's wonderful what you're doing. And thank you for sharing.
Thank
Can
you.
we have some more music? I want to be able to play some more of your music on here before the time is up. And the time is running out very fast.
Well, we want to thank you so much for inviting us
Oh,
here.
hey,
Yes.
it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. Kids, I mean, I'm. When I think of what's going on in our society and the kids, I mean, because I interact with a lot of the millennials
Yeah.
every day, and I just think, oh my God, what is happening? What is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
You know, the techies,
Yeah.
and I'm really afraid for their future. You know, and I know that I have a millennial daughter. Thank you. Here's some more wonderful music. This is about you.
Yes.
Maybe. Love you, bro.
I love you
So,
too.
hell yeah.
So peaceful.
I just got in meditation state.
Yes.
You almost had me singing to this.
Sing. Go, please. Please share. Come on, John. You can do
I
it.
got you on the spot now.
Yeah, I
bro.
know, right?
Relax, boy.
You don't have to. But you said it, not me.
I almost really started singing.
Well, do
but,
it.
I'm gonna hold back on that right now.
I didn't ask you. I just say thank you, God, for working through you. That's what I
Amen to
say.
that.
Thank you, God.
And that piano is so soothing.
Wow. Thank you again for sharing yourselves and your purpose and your passion and unconditional love on what you're doing with your nonprofit for the kids and
Thank you.
adults.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us here.